Assalamu alaikum viewers, I'm Sadia Sattar and you're watching me on Pak-Bangla Connect. In this episode of Pak-Bangla Connect, we're going to discuss in detail about India's expansionist agenda. Since the inception of Pakistan, India never accepted Pakistan and kept on doing intrusions one or the other way. Today we're going to talk about how India expanded since 1947 and how India intends to expand further. What is India's problem with Bangladesh and why the closeness of Pakistan and Bangladesh is bothering India?
The fundamental principle of the Indian state is the concept of a state that prioritizes the central authority over regional autonomy. In other words, for any state associated with the Indian Union, the central government will hold supreme power. At the very beginning of the Indian Constitution, Article 1 states, India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. This means that India is designed to function as a federal structure. However, despite being labeled a federation, there is a vast difference between India's system and that of the United States of America. In the United States, if any state ever wishes to separate, provisions have been constitutionally allowed for such an option. However, in India, the constitutional path for states to secede has been firmly closed. On the other hand, the constitution of this regressive nation explicitly allows the legality of annexing other territories. India has repeatedly used Clause 3 of Article 1 of its constitution as the basis to annex weaker neighboring territories, with its latest target being Bangladesh. In 1947, when the British declared India's independence, there were 565 small states in the subcontinent, known as princely states. These states, although paying taxes to the British, were independent and had their own rulers. Before leaving, the British provided these states with three options. They could join India, join Pakistan, or remain independent if they wished. Since the majority of these states were governed by Hindu rulers, 549 of the 565 states decided to join India. 13 states chose to unite with Pakistan, while 3 states, Kashmir, Hyderabad, and Junagadh, opted for independence. Unfortunately, within a month of the British leaving, the communal state of India forcibly annexed these states. Furthermore, India seized additional states that were either under French or Portuguese control or had declared independence. This aggressive annexation expanded India's territory beyond its original framework. Until 1956, the map of India showed that the country had 14 states. However, that number has now increased to 28 states. In 1961, Dadra and Nagar Haveli were annexed. In the same year, the states of Goa and Daman and Diu were also taken over. Pondicherry was annexed in 1962. Nagaland was fully brought under control in 1963. Manipur was annexed in 1968. And through one of the most heinous acts of deception in world history, Sikkim was annexed in 1975. Through Operation Meghdoot, the Siachen Glacier was finally occupied on April 13, 1984. The final chapter of this grand plan is named Bangladesh. Hearing the name Bangladesh, many might be startled, but the blueprint for occupying Bangladesh was finalized as early as 1966. In the renowned book Jasad's Rise and Fall, Politics of Turbulent Times by Muhyiddin Ahmed, it is written that during the war, a severe necessity arose from a provincial government to prevent any constitutional vacuum after the country's independence. However, as India's intentions were different, they strongly opposed the formation of provincial government. Sheikh Moni, along with Tufel and others, strongly opposed the formation of the provincial government led by Shahid Tajuddin Ahmed. With the backing of the Indian Intelligence Agency, another force was created. At one point in the book, the author writes that Indian Army Chief General Sam Manekshaw told Tajuddin Ahmed that he had formed a special force alongside the army to accomplish a specific task. A photograph featuring Sheikh Mujib's nephew Sheikh Moni, Siraj Sikdar, Tufel, and Abdul Razak with another officer of this special force, General Oban, is included on page 47 of the book. 4 lines from the book are as follows. Rameshwar Nath Kao was the director of India's RAW. The agency was structured in 1968 based on the models of the CIA from United States and MI6 from United Kingdom. The name of its first project was Bangladesh. Viewers, what was Raw's objective in the project named Bangladesh? To understand this, let us delve into the history. Before linking these plans to Bangladesh, let's examine the strategies used to annex other states. Indian intelligence agencies have several well-known strategies, most of which have been utilized in the annexation of various states. These strategies include creating intense political divisions among local political parties, providing all forms of support to the most loyal political parties to India, and creating fear through targeted killings of popular leaders from strongly opposing political parties. Additionally, these strategies involve destroying democratic institutions, including electoral processes, fostering religious divisions, and artificially creating situations of oppression against Hindus to set the stage for state invasions. Before a month had passed after the British left India, Indian Hindu extremist Jawaharlal Nehru, the predecessor of Narendra Modi, set his sights on a territory of 2 lakh square kilometers. The main reason for the capture of Hyderabad, a region with a population of 15 million, was its vast wealth. At the time when Indian Hindus were imitating Arab clerics and European merchants by sleeping with pillows under their feet, unaware that pillows are meant to be placed under one's head, Hyderabad was the richest state in the subcontinent. The state of Hyderabad was known for its immense wealth, having its own military, semi-military forces, and transportation networks, including rail, naval, and even air travel. The rulers of Hyderabad were known as Nizams. According to Time magazine, the Nizam of Hyderabad, Shaukat Ali Khan, was the richest individual in the entire world at that time. This prosperity, however, became a curse for the residents of this wealthy, thriving state. The most greedy and vile nation in the world, the Indian Hindus, could not control their greed. Thus began the mission to seize Hyderabad. There are some strange similarities between the conquest of Hyderabad and the capture of Bangladesh. The state was seized in a bloody 9-month conflict from December 1947 to September 1948. Before the conquest of Hyderabad, several conditions were deliberately created. Fires were set to Hindu homes and temples, and Hindu leaders, much like Pia Sahar, frequently complained to India that they were being persecuted. Based on these false complaints, India repeatedly warned the Nizam of Hyderabad. In the dead of night, Muslim political leaders, prominent businessmen, and religious leaders were abducted and disappeared. As these incidents were repeatedly occurring, the concerned and worried Nizam sent a strict message to the law enforcement agencies to identify and arrest the perpetrators. Reports from Hyderabad's own military forces revealed that every instance of covert murder was linked to the Indian intelligence agency and leaders of a local communist party. Several individuals, including a member of an Indian intelligence agency involved in the conspiracy, were hanged and killed. Since all the accused in the trial were Hindus, India used this as a pretext to label it as Hindu genocide and launched an attack on Hyderabad. The Nizam Shaukat Ali Khan's government decided to form resistance by integrating ordinary young people into the army. However, it was observed that while Muslim youth responded to the Nizam's call, Hindus did not join the forces, even though 85% of the state's total population was Hindu. Faced with this situation, Hyderabad had to fight against the vast Indian army with a small force. According to analysts like Taylor and Easy Khan, at least 200,000 Muslims were killed during the Hyderabad occupation campaign. However, the then hardline Hindu Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru fabricated an investigative report through one of the party's legislators, Sundarlal, which is now known in history as the Sundarlal Report. This biased report mentioned crimes such as systematic mass shootings of civilians and the mass rape of Muslim women, horrific acts committed during the attack on Hyderabad. Due to the damning evidence, Nehru chose not to release the report. Finally, after another round of revisions in 2013, the refined report on the Hyderabad massacre was brought to public attention. The partial portion of Sundarlal's report was published in the English version of the BBC News on September 24, 2013. It mentioned that between 27,000 and 40,000 people were killed. For all these years, while India has claimed that it sent police to Hyderabad to claim the situation, Finally, after another round of revisions in 2013, the refined report on the Hyderabad massacre was brought to public attention. The partial portion of Sundarlal's report was published in the English version of the BBC News on September 24, 2013. It mentioned that between 27,000 and 40,000 people were killed. For all these years, while India has claimed that it sent police to Hyderabad to calm the situation and prevent Hindu persecution, the report mentions that the state was actually seized through Operation Polo conducted by the military. The unequal war between the powerful Indian invading forces and Hyderabad's weak army came to an end on September 18, 1948. With this, the Muslim princely state of Hyderabad in the Indian subcontinent came to an end. Viewers, the history of India's occupation of each of its states, like Hyderabad, is drenched in blood. From Hyderabad to Kashmir, the fresh blood of Muslims is scattered everywhere. According to the plan of the Indian Intelligence Agency, the simultaneous occupation of two states, Hyderabad and Kashmir, was intended. Since occupying Hyderabad would naturally create tensions among Muslims in Kashmir, the army would then exploit this situation to carry out an operation and take control of Kashmir. However, this plan was thwarted by Pakistan. Although Hyderabad was far away, Pakistan did not allow India to take full control of Kashmir alone. After 2 years of war over the occupation of Kashmir, the United Nations intervened and a line of control, LOC, was established. With both countries agreeing to a ceasefire based on the territorial divisions at that time. While Kashmiris under Pakistani administration lived in peace, unrest began in Indian-administered Kashmir from the very beginning. As a result, in 1957, India granted Kashmir special constitutional status. Following this, the India-Pakistan War occurred in 1965. The similar agreement was signed in 1971-72, and in 1989, a 2-year-long rebellion erupted in Kashmir against Indian rule. In 1999, the Kargil War took place. Due to the ongoing tensions between the two countries over Kashmir, India has been unable to gain full control of the region. Most recently, in 2019, through the abrogation of Article 370 of the Constitution of India, which granted Kashmir special autonomy, India brought the region to the brink of complete annexation. Muslims sacrificed the most blood to free colonial India from British rule, yet even in independent India, those very Muslims had to remain subjugated. Another Indian battleground in the massacre of Muslims is Junagadh. The well-known strategies of Indian intelligence agencies are also evident here. Throughout the British colonial period, the Muslim-ruled princely state maintained communal harmony. However, after 1947, accusations suddenly arose against local Muslims for burning Hindu homes and committing acts of vandalism in Junagadh. Among these, the most successful operation by Rao was the siege from the Somnath temple. The destruction of the Somnath temple served as the catalyst for the widespread anti-Muslim movements in Junagadh. Following this event, a massive public meeting was organized by Hindus at the Bahauddin College ground in November 1947. In violation of the state's laws, the then Indian Home Minister, Vallabhbhai Patel, participated in the meeting as the chief guest. After the public meeting, as per the pre-planned arrangement, Vallabhbhai Patel visited the Somnath temple. There, on behalf of Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, the announcement was made to reconstruct the temple with the aim of instilling patriotism among the local Hindus. Meanwhile, various rumors against Muslims continued to spread. The Nawab of Junagadh, Muhammad Mahtab III, was accused of smuggling a large sum of money into Pakistan. A referendum was organized based on this accusation. Since the majority of the state's population were Hindus, the Nawab lost the referendum as expected. Lord Mountbatten appointed VP Menon advised the Nawab Muhammad Mohabbat to join India voluntarily. However, the Nawab instead declared his intentions to join Pakistan. As a result, on November 1, 1947, the Indian Army launched a sudden attack and captured the two important cities of Junagadh, Babariwara and Mangrol. On November 5th, the Junagadh State Council sent a telegram to Bhutto, transferring full authority to handle the situation. Although Pakistan initially decided to send 7 companies of police, they withdrew from the decision due to concerns about bloodshed in conflict. Subsequently, on November 9, 1947, the Indian occupying forces took complete control of Junagadh without bloodshed. However, in the aftermath of the occupation, there are allegations against Indian extremist Hindus of killing thousands of Muslims, committing murders, rapes, and looting their businesses and properties. Viewers, neither Buddhists nor Christians were spared from the communal force of secular India, which operates under the guise of secularism. The oppression of Buddhists and the takeover of Sikkim under the rule of Buddhist kings served as a preparatory step for the occupation of Bangladesh. There are some strange similarities between the activities of Indian intelligence agencies during the takeover of Sikkim and their actions in Bangladesh. The small mountainous state of 7,696 square kilometers was geographically very important because it bordered Nepal on one side and Bhutan on the other. To the north lay Tibet, China, and to the south was West Bengal, India. The takeover of Sikkim connected these four nations is evidence of the direct involvement of Indian intelligence agencies, as mentioned in the book Inside Row by its then director Ashok Ray. According to the information in his book, India's decision to take control of Sikkim was finalized in 1971. However, several steps of the plan by R were still pending at that time. As per the plan, another official of R, Ajit Dhawale, led a dirty game of communal conflict. Hindu communities were incited against Buddhists by attacking local Hindu temples and homes. The situation became so chaotic that in 1973, the Buddhist majority monarchy was forced to hold elections in the face of the movement for its abolition. However, the National Congress did not gain much advantage in the elections due to the absence of militant groups like Chhatra League and Juba League on the ground. Once again, when the king came to power, direct Indian intervention forced the royal family to amend the constitution in 1976 and hold elections again the following year. The level of Indian manipulation in that election becomes evident when looking at the results. While the royal family came to power in 1973, within a year, the Sikkim National Congress won 31 out of 32 seats, securing a decisive victory. For the first time, after being elected as Prime Minister and under India's advice, Lendub Dhorji organized a referendum to abolish the monarchy. There are allegations of widespread manipulation by Roe in that historic referendum held on March 27, 1975. 8 days after the monarchy abolition law was passed, the Indian army surrounded the royal family. The king and his family members were detained. Everything became clear to the simple and straightforward king, but by that time, nothing was left. Although Lendub Dorji, considered a traitor like Mir Jafar, was shown the allure of remaining in power indefinitely without opposition, he was not given the opportunity to rule for long. Just 1 month later, on April 26th, Sikkim was annexed as a state of India. Due to the greed of power-hungry individuals, the journey of independent Sikkim came to an end. Over the skies of subjugated Sikkim, the flag of scheming India flew forever. To the people of Sikkim, Lendub Dorji remains the name of a despised figure. Viewers, after knowing this information, if you're asked whether India will really occupy Bangladesh, and the answer is yes, then why, when, how, and at what time will the occupation take place? Do we have the answers to these questions prepared? Do we not understand that the Akhand Bharat, or the Greater India dream, is being planned for long? It's a wake-up call. People in this region, particularly in Bangladesh, need to understand how India is trying to infiltrate. What are the techniques and who are all involved?
Well, that's it from Pak-Bangla Connect today. In today's episode, we discussed about the expansionist agenda of India. I'll be looking forward for your feedback. Do write in the comments and do send me an email. Email is in the caption. I'll be looking forward. Take care and have a wonderful day ahead. Allah Hafiz.